In 1969, the world saw haunting images. Children with swollen bellies, ribs sticking through fragile skin, eyes staring blankly into nothingness. They were not victims of famine caused by drought or nature's cruelty. They were victims of war. A war fought not just with bullets and bombs, but with hunger. This is the story of Biafra, a land that tried to exist but was starved into silence. To understand how Nigeria came to destroy itself, we must go back to a time when it wasn't even Nigeria. When the British arrived in the late 1800s, they saw not one people, but hundreds of tribes and kingdoms: the Igbo of the east, the Yoruba of the west, and the Hausa Fulani of the north, different in language, belief, and tradition. Yet, in 1914, Britain drew lines on a map and said, "You are one country now." From that moment, unity was an illusion. After independence in 1960, Nigeria inherited not freedom, but tension. Political parties divided by tribe, regions competing for power, and a military struggling to stay neutral. Then, in 1966, everything broke. A group of young Igbo officers staged a coup, claiming they wanted to end corruption. But when key leaders from the north and west were killed, and mostly Igbo officers survived, suspicion grew. The north saw it as an ethnic coup, a plot for Igbo domination. And soon, vengeance followed. In July 1966, northern soldiers struck back. It wasn't just a counter-coup, it was a massacre. Thousands of Igbo civilians living in northern cities were hunted, beaten, and killed. Bodies littered the streets of Kano, Kaduna, and Zaria. Trains heading east were packed with survivors, terrified families fleeing for their lives. Among them was a young officer, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, a man who would soon declare, "Enough." May 30th, 1967. From the city of Enugu, Ojukwu stood before his people and declared independence.
"We are no longer part of Nigeria. We are now the Republic of Biafra."
For the Igbo and Easterners, this was liberation, a promise of safety and self-rule after years of persecution. For the Nigerian government, it was treason. The response came swiftly. General Yakubu Gowon, head of the Nigerian military government, announced a campaign to bring the East back by force. And just like that, Nigeria went to war with itself. The first bullets were fired in July 1967. The Nigerian army advanced from the north, while Biafra fought fiercely to hold their ground. Ojukwu's soldiers were under-equipped but determined. They crafted homemade weapons, even refitted cars into armored trucks they called Ogbunigwe, meaning mass killer. At first, Biafra shocked the world. They captured the Midwest region, pushing close to Lagos, Nigeria's capital. But victory was short-lived. Within months, Nigeria's superior firepower turned the tide. With Soviet and British support, federal troops began to encircle Biafra. By the end of 1968, the young nation was trapped, landlocked, cut off from the sea, and isolated from the world. That's when the most brutal weapon of the war emerged: the blockade. No food, no medicine, no escape. The Nigerian army sealed every border, every port, every route leading into Biafra. Planes carrying relief were shot down. Soon famine spread like wildfire. Villages ran out of rice, then yams, then even cassava. People began eating leaves. Mothers watched their children waste away, eyes sunken, skin cracking, stomachs swelling grotesquely from malnutrition. Foreign journalists began sneaking into Biafra through secret night flights. What they captured shocked the world. Photographs of starving children appeared in newspapers across Europe and America. The term Biafra baby became synonymous with human suffering. For the first time, images from a war changed public opinion. Church groups and NGOs mobilized airlifts of food, flying at night over dangerous skies. It was one of the largest humanitarian operations of the 20th century. Yet as food fell from the skies, bombs fell too. Nigeria's Air Force targeted relief centers, hospitals, even schools, claiming rebels were hiding there. Biafra became a ghost land, but Ojukwu refused to surrender.
Even if we die standing.
And many did. By late 1969, Biafra was broken. Its territory shrunk to a tiny corner of the southeast. Disease and hunger killed more than bullets ever could. Even Ojukwu knew the end was near. On January 11, 1970, he fled into exile. 3 days later, Biafran generals surrendered. The war was over, but what was left? Over 2 million civilians, mostly women and children, had died. Towns were reduced to dust, families torn apart, a generation scarred by starvation and silence. When peace returned, there was no celebration, no victory parade. General Gowon declared, "No victor, no vanquished." But the wounds of that war never truly healed. The Igbo returned to their lands, broken, impoverished, and alienated. Nigeria moved on, building cities and oil empires, but the memories of Biafra were buried deep. For decades, speaking of it was taboo, as if silence could erase history. But history never forgets. Because the story of Biafra isn't just a story about war. It's a story about what happens when a nation loses its humanity. When pride and power become more valuable than life itself. And when the world, seeing suffering so great, chooses to look away. Biafra may have vanished from the map, but its spirit lives on, in the memories of those who survived, and in the lessons it left behind. A reminder that every line drawn on a map comes with a cost, and that sometimes the worst wars are the ones fought within ourselves.